Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. My name is Steven and I am a second year dental student. This is a video that I've been wanting to do for a while. This is a 2021 update to my handmade desk setup, and I'm really excited to get into all the details and tell you about everything that has changed and the things that have stayed the same here at this desk. So if you're new here, I am a dental student, which means I'm studying quite frequently. I also run a YouTube channel here, and so I have sort of a dual purpose need for my desk setup. So my desk serves as my primary study location, and it also serves as this right here, which is my little YouTube studio setup, which I've now kind of basically perfected to work for me. So in this video, I'll talk about all of the details of this desk setup, including everything that's on it and around it. And I'll also talk about this little YouTube setup that I now have built into the desk, which allows me to record videos super quickly. Let's get right into it. The first and most important piece of this entire thing is the desk itself. Now, the top of this desk is something I'm very proud of, and it is actually what allows me to call this desk handmade. The top of this desk is a couple of pieces of white oak mixed with Peruvian walnut, and I put it together myself. It was a fun woodworking project that I was able to do to complete this desktop before I started dental school, and it really has worked out for me because I love the styling. I'm a big fan of the lighter wood mixed with the darker wood. Also, the size of the desk is perfect for me. I have tons of room to work with, so this side of the desk over here can be my YouTube stuff, and this side over here can be kind of my school stuff. And the desktop is supported by a fully Jarvis sit-stand desk. Now, this is one of these desks that it has two motors, and it can raise and lower automatically depending on whether or not you want to sit or stand. And this is honestly something that I quite enjoy. I'll be completely honest, I don't stand a ton. I'm usually sitting at this desk just because it's kind of nice to sit, but there are times when I'm studying here for long periods of time that I really feel like I just don't want to sit anymore. And that's when I can just hit this little switch, pop the desk up into standing mode, and stand to study. This is a great desk and I've loved it. It's done everything that I've wanted it to do, and that's about all I could ask of it. Below the desk, you will see a mess of cables, and I will say my cable management has never been very good. I think the desk itself on top specifically looks really nice. Below it, it's not great. I've tried to kind of tie everything up and get it up there at least, and it could be a lot worse, but I would prefer if I had like one of those nice trays that kept all of my cables in there nicely. Someday, eventually, I will get around to really making my cable management nice. The one thing that is really good is that I have a multi-pronged surge protector actually screwed into the bottom of this desk, and that allows me to only have one single cord plugged into the wall. The rest of it is plugged into that surge protector. So everything on this desk, including the monitor, the lamp, the desk itself, all of my camera stuff that I have over here, the light, everything, it's all plugged into one surge protector. Now, as for the tech, obviously the main centerpiece of this desk is my 30-inch Scepter gaming monitor. And this is truly the centerpiece of the desk. It's the ultra-wide curved monitor that every good desk setup needs. I have it mounted on a Vivo single arm mounting arm, which is really sturdy and really nice. And yeah, this monitor has been great. I've enjoyed it quite a bit. It was on the cheaper side of things, and I think eventually I will upgrade. But the monitor has done essentially everything I've needed it to do. The only complaint that I have is that like halfway through this past year of using it, the scaling kind of got messed up to where now my screen is essentially a little stretched and I can't fix it no matter what I do. I've looked all over the place and can't find an answer. There was one day where it randomly like went back to normal and it was scaling correctly onto my screen, but for the rest of the time I just work with everything stretched out a little bit, which is slightly annoying, and I would prefer if it wasn't like that, but it is what it is. So if you do have an answer for me and you have one of these Scepter gaming monitors, let me know, because I would love to know what's going on here. Of course, that is plugged in via HDMI and power to my 2019 13-inch MacBook Pro, and this is kind of a baseline MacBook Pro when it comes to like all of the speed numbers and things of that nature. It is upgraded with plenty of storage, so it's I think the 512 or 500 whatever gigabyte version of the computer, so it has plenty of space, which is nice for these YouTube videos because I'm working with 4K footage and those files take up quite a bit of room. My MacBook is a similar thing. I've really enjoyed it. It's done everything I've needed it to do. Eventually I will be updating or upgrading to something different. Not exactly sure what yet, but that will come down the road. The MacBook is sitting in a stand that I also created. It is made out of the same white oak as the desk itself, and it was just a very simple little woodworking project that I did so that I can hold the MacBook in clamshell mode. I don't typically use it in clamshell mode. I actually use it most of the time opened up because I get worried a little bit about the temperature and not allowing the computer to adequately cool when it's in clamshell mode. And to power all of this setup, I have a keyboard from Satechi. This is a Bluetooth, very simple space gray keyboard that matches my computer, matches my iPad and everything. And it has been awesome. I find myself better able to type with this keyboard than my MacBook keyboard, so I really prefer it in that regard. It also has the numeric keypad on the side, which is quite nice. And then for the mouse, I have a very simple Logitech Pebble, which is a small Bluetooth mouse, and this one is gray. And I just got it because it was simple and easy. I didn't need anything crazy. Maybe someday I'll get one of those cool Logitech MX Master or whatever mouses, but for now the Pebble is perfect. Now I do want to talk about my YouTube studio setup that I have built out here before I move on to the things surrounding the desk, because this is a project that I did pretty recently actually, and I quite enjoy the way it came out. I wanted something on my desk setup that allowed me to very quickly film videos, whether they were for YouTube or my job with bootcamp.com. I wanted something that I was able to just sit down, hit play, and start recording, and this setup makes that a little bit easier for me. The first thing is sort of the mounting support arm that's coming off of my Vivo monitor mount. So this is just an extra support arm that I ordered off of Amazon, and it's built from the same materials, and it attaches to the monitor arm itself and allows me to stick on 3 implements that I use. The first one is my Zoom H1N recorder, and this is what I use to record all of my audio, and that is plugged with like a 6-foot cord into my Rode VideoMic Pro. This is like the older version of the VideoMic Pro. I've had it forever, but that's what I use to record my audio. That's the actual microphone I use, and that sits on a microphone arm mount thing. Once again, they're very simple. They're all over Amazon, but it's pretty cheap, but it gets the job done. I'm able to mount it there. I could also pull it down and mount it on the side of my desk so that I can have my microphone come up to my face and get really nice crisp audio that way. And then of course, the third thing on this monitor mount arm is a newer tripod head, which holds my Sony a6500, the primary camera that I use to film literally everything. This camera is amazing. I love everything about it. And I recently purchased a Mikey or Mickey battery grip for it to allow double the battery life. So now I have this camera setup that's pretty great, to be honest, especially for the money. I use a Sigma 16mm f1.4 lens to film the majority of my stuff. And then I also have the Sigma 56mm lens, which is very zoomed in, but it gives me some nice dramatic shots for photography and videography. And behind all of these 3 things, I have my primary video light, which is a very cheap light from Mount Dog. It's like one of those cheap Amazon purchases that every YouTube starts out with. Eventually, I'd like to get a better light because this one does not have the ability to dim down or change color temperature. But for now, it works, and I have it sitting connected to the desk on another one of those microphone mount arm things, which I can't think of the name of at this point. So that's the YouTube setup. What else is on this desk? Well, first you'll find my Apple iPad Pro here. This is the 2018 version of the iPad with the Apple Pencil. I don't use this as much as I would have thought I'd use it, but I do use it occasionally, especially for my job with boot camp once again. And then behind that, you will find my lamp from Tommen's. Very simple lamp. It perfectly matches the styling of my desk. It's got that kind of space gray look with the lighter wood, so I love that about it. Now, next to the desk, you're going to find another woodworking project that I did before dental school. I had a lot of time back then, and that is a 3-level shelf that I built to kind of perfectly nestle in next to the desk. And on this shelf, I keep all of my miscellaneous stuff, and it's mostly camera related. The top shelf has memory cards, extra batteries, lens hoods, things of that nature, and this plant that I have right here, which surprisingly has stayed alive for a lot longer than I thought it would. And then on the shelf below that, I have 2 bins which hold tons of different things. One of them is like school supply related, and the other one is like a cord catch-all. So I have all sorts of cords, HDMI cords, different USB things. I think there's like headphone cords in there, just basically all of the excess stuff I have over there. And then on the bottom shelf, I keep all of my light stands and tripods when they're not in use. So I have like 3 light stands, a couple tripods, and some things that are able to tuck in nicely on that bottom shelf. So overall, this shelf has worked out perfectly. It keeps everything very nice and clean, and it keeps everything off of the desk, which is really nice. Now, one big difference you'll notice about this desk setup today compared to what it looks like last year when I made my first desk setup video is that the desk itself is in an entirely different location in my apartment. I've moved it now up against this wall back here so that I'm able to kind of film YouTube videos in an area that it's a little bit more visually pleasing, and it allowed me to put up this shelf setup, these posters back here, and everything that's going on. So just as a quick note, I do have these 2 posters up above my monitor. Those were hand drawn by me. I guess I'm making myself look like a real cool artist person. I'm not, I just had a lot of free time back in the day. And then behind that, I have 2 shelves that are put up on just some black hangers, and those have various books, this nice plant that sits behind me, and a cool light that I got from IKEA. These posters are awesome. These are the 3 posters that I have just representing some of the fantasy series that I've enjoyed in the past. We've got Game of Thrones up top, then the Stormlight Archive, and then Harry Potter down at the bottom. And another thing that I recently did was I made the space behind me look slightly better because I've been preferring this setup for my YouTube videos. So I wanted there to be a little bit more back here behind me. So now I have this plant behind me. It's kind of a big tree looking plant. And then I also put another big bulky shelf back there, which has my Harry Potter books on it. It's got a couple of other things as well, another plant because that's necessary. And then above that is my TV, which I don't use a ton. Sometimes I turn it on. I actually meant to turn it on for this video and totally forgot about it. The one addition that I do want to make to this whole space is right here. I would like to have a chair that I could sit in to read. For right now, the whole space is kind of empty. There's not a whole lot going on there, but I do think a nice chair would be a great addition, and maybe another rug. So someday that'll come, but the whole situation has just been incremental. Do one thing at a time. I'm pretty sure that's it. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it, my friends. That is my 2021 update for my desk setup. Like I said, not a ton has changed, but the whole setup has moved in my apartment, and I did make a video about that whole process. And I've also added in this YouTube studio side of things just to make that process easier. So this desk has been great. I've loved working here, and it's made the process of school and YouTube a lot easier, honestly. So if you enjoyed this video, let me know in the comments, and let me know what you think I should add to this desk. I always get comments about different elements of the desk itself and suggestions as well. So let me know what you think, and I love to hear from all of you. That's it for this video, and I look forward to seeing you all back on the channel again in the future. But thank you so much for watching, and as I always say, I'll see you in the next one.